qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
Yeah, the irresistible strains, the opening part of what has become a cultural icon in Irish sports history, Owen. So again, this is a question, when did you first become aware of this song? And because obviously you weren't around for it.
I don't know. Like it's like, I mean, was it played to me in the womb? Possibly. Like, I mean, what the first awareness of the song? I'm not quite sure. From my earliest moments, that's for sure. It just exists.
We were out after a roadshow one night, and it went on a bit too long, and we were like, oh, let's go somewhere else, and ended up in a club, and the club was obviously full of people your age, to be honest, and they dropped this in the middle of it. I was like, what? And it wasn't in the middle of a tournament. There hadn't been an Ireland match. It could have just been a random August. Does that happen? Is that a thing?
I could think of potentially one particular establishment.
This isn't Coppers.
It was it not, right?
No,
okay, I don't know where this was. That is very. Are you sure it wasn't an Irish qualification night? That is unusual. I certainly haven't heard it out and about too much. But like, it's impossible for it not to be part of the consciousness, because it does tap into what Paul was saying there, that every big success we have in Irish football, and to a point Irish sport, is just chasing the dream of Italia '90, and with the dream comes the sights and the sounds, and that is one of the sounds. That is one of the things that will immediately evoke memories for people of a certain age, and it will immediately inject a good dose of FOMO into those of us who weren't there. So it works both ways. It's the perfect sign that the good times might be coming back. And that's what nostalgia is, isn't it? That's why nostalgia works, is that one day we might actually be able to feel that way again. And maybe there's a sense of hope with the song that comes as well.
Yeah, nostalgia is obviously a double-edged sword, because you waste your time thinking about the past as opposed to actually planning for a better future or a different future or an alternative future.
Like it was the Logan Roy in Succession who says the past is fake, the future is real. I would say he's a man who rails against the idea of nostalgia. I guess it is kind of an archly pointless exercise, but we indulge all the same. It's a very indulgent thing to do.
087 180 180 is the number. We're just having a bit of issue with our Skypes here. We'll get back to Paul. We'll get to Moya in just a moment as well. But again, Owen, in terms of your mates and how they've been talking about these last few days and the appreciation of how our culture changed, is this just all ancient history?
Well, like it would have to be. Like, none of us can give you an educated response on here is how Ireland was at the time and here is how Ireland was 10 years later, considering there was no awareness of it. Like the one thing that I kind of would have really resonated with is actually Gary Breen yesterday, when he was talking about his view of things in the UK. Like, my parents would have been in London throughout all of these tournaments, throughout every single one of these tournaments. And for them, I'd imagine it was this huge explosion of emotion for them and their Irish communities over there. And there's like, it wasn't even a conversation that happens this week. It's a conversation that happens all throughout your life. As I was saying yesterday, I don't know when was the first time I saw Ray Houghton put the ball in the English net. I suspect it is my earliest sporting memory, and the first time I was aware of sport happening before my time, for sure. And like that is something that is 100% a conversation that comes up with your family. It's not something where you're like reading one day and digging into things and saying, tell me about this interesting thing. It is almost like something that you get to very, very early in life. And it's one of the first things I remember learning about sport.
All right, it's 9:52, and I'm delighted to say we've got Moya Brennan with us to talk to us about the cultural impact of the song and everything else around it. Moya, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Jared. It's good to be on with you this morning on an unusual programme for me.
I'm sure. But to be honest, we just had Paul Rouse, the historian, on there, and he was talking about the charts in 1990. And were you guys 11 weeks, 16 weeks, number one?
Goodness, I know, but it was amazing. But you know, it's really funny when I started singing. It was I think that everybody was always waiting for the dun, 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 when I was singing the sort of ole, ole, really, really slowly. I think maybe they just wanted to get stuck into the other so they could start dancing, you know. But it was nice to be included and kind of giving that sort of, I suppose, you know, the Clannad kind of feel, the what I'm known for and everything, to be part of it. And I guess it came out of just, I used to go to the matches long before they even got into the European Cup. We used to meet up with loads of, obviously guys actually at the Shelbourne, and then head to the match. And when Dennis Woods and Larry got in touch with me asking would I be interested, I jumped at the chance. You know, I just thought it'd be amazing. But it was nice the way they included, you know, the different kinds of music in it, with the Horseloves music and our music and everything. And just, it was a real Irish impact, you know, that everybody got stuck into, and they just, and everybody loved, didn't they?
So Paul went through them. There was 4 songs that ended up reaching #1 that were soccer related that year, and the other 3, people vaguely remember them. There's Give It a Lash Jack, and then there was one which is a cover, essentially, a rework cover, and then your one, which has actually stood the test of time and is the one that we all turn to in this moment where we're looking to remember and celebrate Jack Charlton. And I think exactly the reason that it has lasted is because, as you say, it wasn't a cash-in. It was like let's put together a bunch of things that represent who we are.
Yeah, I think it was very, you know, it was thought out, you know, and, you know, the pipes in there with Davy Spillane and everything. There was just, you know, it kind of created a good Irish vibe of, you know, it was musical. And definitely, you know, Larry and Dennis did a great job at doing that. And I think maybe that's why it's kind of held the test of time, and, you know, people still love it. I have a sister in Australia, and she, you know, when she heard about Jack, she just sent me the song right away, so saying, oh, I'm just loving this, you know, just the thoughts and everything. And it's got great, I think, vibrant thoughts, you know, of just that time, and the time where, you know, what Jack did for the Irish team. And I've been listening to all the different interviews with some of the team for the last couple of days, and it's just lovely how they looked at him and what they thought of him, and, you know, the stories and everything, and it's gorgeous.
So I don't know who Dennis Woods is. Obviously, everybody knows who Larry Mullen is, but who's Dennis?
Yeah.
And how did he get involved?
Dennis was the engineer producer of it, and he was part of, you know, in the studio. That's why. And I'd worked with Dennis before, so it was nice to kind of be in there with him. And so
was it Larry's idea, or how did it all come across? Like, who got the notion to put you on it?
I think it must have been because Larry was the producer of it all, and it was his thoughts of asking David Spillane, using the Horselips song and everything. I mean, you know, it was very thoughtful what he did, and it was great fun as well doing it. And of course, doing the video, I was in there as well and meeting with all the boys. And you know, I had the privilege to meet Jack just twice with a load of other people, and, you know, I was just the girl with the breathy voice, you know. That's how I think I was introduced to him as.
So what were the recording sessions like?
It was great fun. I was just in there for an evening, and it was just, it was very high-spirited, very exciting, because of what it was about. But the video, when we were doing the video, it was the second one, Mullane Studio, we were at, and I knew some of the boys before, like Packy Bonner, because he's from Donegal and that, and Quinn and O'Leary and that. But it was just nice to be there with them all. I felt so privileged. It was amazing. You know, there's Mick McCarthy playing the drums, you know, or trying to play the drums.
Apparently Paul McGrath's a good singer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're all good singers, you know, come on.
Oh,
you know, the Irish in them, come on.
Some of them less so, some of them kind of, you know.
They croaked along, yeah.
Yes, when the camera pans along for the national anthem and you can hear them, you're like, oh, okay, that's, he's going to get...
Yeah, I know, that's true.
They're picking that one up.
What was Jack's musical talent?
Sorry?
What was Big Jack's musical talent, if you had to put one on him?
I think he enjoyed it, you know. I think he enjoyed the Irish culture. I mean, you know, and he loved the fact that he never had to buy a pint in Ireland. I think that was a major thing.
Moya, what's your sense of what Ireland was like back then and how it's changed, particularly as an artist who's kind of, trying to create music that's going to resonate with people?
I think that, it was one of the biggest occasions that Ireland had, that we came together, and it was just amazing. And I was watching on the TV the other night, the Boys in Green thing was on, and my son and his mates were standing there watching it, and they looked at me and they just said, "Oh my gosh, I'd love to have been there. I'd love to have been part of that time." And, and because it just looked, we all went bananas, literally. I mean, I was over in Leo's, in my father's pub, watching the Romanian match, and the place we went literally bonkers, that evening, and people trying to make, calls to travel agencies to fly to Italy the next day, including my brother, But it was there was just an amazing sense of an Irish achievement that brought the country together. It was really amazing when you think of it. And it kind of has that feeling when you were watching the Boys in Green the other night, people jumping into fountains and Gardaí dancing with everybody in the street. And it was just, it was amazing. And, that feeling, whether we'll ever get it back, because, we have now achieved so many other accolades of people that have gone on winning gold medals and other, different things around the world. We're kind of well known for our culture, for some of our sports and, things like Katie Taylor and things like that. But, that time, it was just so new to us to achieve this kind of greatness. And it was extraordinary. And I can still feel it. I can still feel the whole vibe and around it. It was amazing. It was amazing.
It's funny how you talk about still being able to feel it. It's almost as if Jack's death has allowed everybody to properly re-engage with that sentiment.
It is, it's got us thinking and enjoying that time again, and thank you, Jack. I mean, he did a great thing, He just brought a great team together, and, as listening to some of the guys, they weren't the best players maybe in the world, some of them or whatever, but it's the way the camaraderie and the team, the way he kind of worked the team, the way he was always, he loved being with the team. He wasn't just a manager and the team was over there. He was just there, and that's how I met him, because he was along with the team, I think he loved the craic, he really did.
Moya, it's been great talking to you and sharing some of your memories. I wonder, was it ever strange for you to be involved with this one track, which is very different from the rest of the music that you've had in your brilliant career? And they're different worlds in one way, but actually they're really not different worlds.
They're not, no. I mean, I'm just thrilled that I feel really privileged that I was part of that. As sort of a young girl years ago, going off with the boys, my brothers and uncles. I mean, I'd be sitting in a room by myself if I didn't join in, listening to them talking about football and about sports and everything. And that's how I just got into it. And I got worse than they did, But it's lovely to be part of something like this. And, music, culture, sports, they all go together really, in a great way. And I think Ireland can do that. Ireland has done that really, really well. We always kind of bring in our music, our songs, everything. I remember when, Barry McGuigan there, when he was, going for his championship, and his father up there singing Danny Boy. We kind of bring in this kind of association with who we are, don't we?
Yeah. It tells us, it gives us a way of telling stories about ourselves.
Yeah, I think so. So it's kind of nice in a way. And as I said, it's a privilege to be part of just an incredible moment. Well,
listen, you're welcome on this show anytime to talk about whatever you want, Moya. It's been brilliant spending some time in your company. Thanks a million.
I might pick you up on that.
100%, anytime. All
right. Thanks a million.
Thanks a million.
Cheers.
That's the breathy voice at the start, Moya Brennan, an amazing little slice of Irish history there for you this morning to wrap up OTBAM. OTBAM is live in association with Gillette. We don't just play the game, we change it to Gillette, made of what matters. That is it from us here this morning.